Okay, good morning, good day in the Holy Land. 24 Elul, Hayom Yom. Very short, very sweet. Frierdiker Rebbe tells us that there was a time when every brief saying one heard was regarded as a Torah. In the parentheses, it says teaching guidance. We learn from everything. And everything one saw was perceived as an instruction in his avodah and conduct. It's one of the principles. I don't know that the Baal Shem Tov originated it, but certainly in his name. One has to learn from everything because there's elokus in everything, godliness in everything. And that's the whole Hayom Yom today. So let's see what we can learn from our Tanya, certainly part of the everything. Lessons in Tanya. We start a new letter today, a new epistle. 17. Oh, the page number. Yeah, the page number is 295. 295 here. And here, Kuti Amorim, page Kufkov letter 17. Okay, here we go. Noida, it's known. And if it isn't known yet to us, it will be known to us. That what? The Isarusa de la Sato, where there is an arousal from below, Shah Odom, meaning us, people, from below, Ma'oira beliboy midas achesed birachmonis, when we arouse down here in the lower world, in our hearts, the attribute of kindness and mercy, I'll call hatzrichim l'rachamim, to all those who need mercy. When we do that, that provokes an isserus de la'ela, an arousal from above. La'ora elov, to bring down to that person, Rachem, the one who's arousing it, to bring down to that person, rachamim rabim, great mercy, and mokor rachamim, from the source of mercies, the hashpiyalai, to literally flow to him, to cause to flow to him, to this person, haperos, the yield of the mitzvah, ba'olam hazeh, in this world, the hakeren la'olam haba, and the principle is like in the world to come. Simply, this is a snippet from a Mishnah in Gemara Peah, which we say in the beginning of the morning every day. It's interesting. The mashal is sort of in financial terms. The keren is the principle. You invest the principle, and it yields. It has a yield. So the yield is in this world, and the principle is in the world to come. Now, what does it mean, peros? What is the fruit, the yield? The yield, or the fruit, is ha'ashpo hanishpa memakar ha'rachamim. It's a flow of godliness which comes from the source of mercies, the Chai HaChayim Baruch Hu, the source of mercies and the life of lives, may he be blessed. V'nimsheches lamata mata, and that flow from the source is drawn down below, in the category, in the process of what's called the Seder of Histalshalis, the chain of descent of oilemis, from one world, milamayla lamata, from above to below, achineslabshim ba'olam hazeh, until it encloses itself in this world, hagashmi, physical world, b'bonei chay u'mazoyna, with rachamim, with kindness that's directed toward and invested in children, life, meaning health, and sustenance. This is the peros that we get from the mitzvah of tzedakah, the mitzvah of chesed. The hakeren, which is the principle, hukama shekasav, it's according to what's written, it says in Pasuk, in Tilim, Rachava mitzvaysecha ma'od. It says, your mitzvah is very, very wide. And it's mitzvah singular. It should be your mitzvos. Your mitzvos are very, very wide. Your commandments are very, very wide. They contain a lot. Why is it singular? First he says, it should have said your mitzvahs plural, lashon rabim. Begam lashon rachava, also in the movement. It's also singular. Ela mitzvah, your mitzvah, dafka specifically, he mitzvah tzedakah, is the mitzvah of tzedakah, shehi mitzvah Hashem, because this is called mitzvah Hashem. Now, all the mitzvahs are mitzvahs of Hashem, but why is this one called mitzvah Hashem mamish? Because this is what Hashem does. Just like the Holy One, blessed be He, in His glory and in His strength and in Himself, He continually gives forth life force to the worlds. And in the future, He will give it even more, and in a different way, which we're going to speak about, in a different and with more strength for eyes and power. As is written in the Pasuk in Bereshis, V'shomru derech Hashem. It says you should guard the derech Hashem. And what is the derech of Hashem? To do tzedakah. So why this is called mitzvah Hashem? Even though all the mitzvahs come from Hashem, because this is what Hashem does. This is when He creates. We've had this in other language before, that the whole of creation is called a poor person, because the whole creation has zero on its own, can't exist, has no existence whatsoever without Hashem flowing His mamali kol almin, His filling energies into the world and empowering the filling energies from soivev and makif. We've spoken quite a lot about this throughout the whole Tanya and in many different places. So it's Hashem who does tzedakah. That's why it's called mitzvah. It's His label. I'm the one, I, God, do tzedakah. That's what I do. That's my job. It's a derech, right? Now this is, Darshan's the word derech, the way of tzedakah. You should guard the way of tzedakah. A derech, in simple terms, is a pathway or a path. Derech sheholchim bo ma'ir la'ir, the way you go from one city to another. So tzedakah is the pathway through which all creation exists. And when we do this down here below, by giving to someone who's in need, we're imitating, we're modeling exactly what Hashem is all about in His doings. So similarly, just like He fills all worlds and surrounds all worlds, is mamali kol almin, v'soibi kol almin. So when we do tzedakah, this is a revelation of the orders of the Orin Soif HaSoibiv Kol Almin. This is the light, the irradiation of the light of Hashem, which surrounds all worlds. Which is revealed, which is not revealed, which is shines, irradiates, and revealed until this and down into this and up to and down to and into this physical world, through the arousal from us down here below, through the Torah tzedakah, through the way tzedakah is meant to be given according to halacha, and kindness, and chesed chinam, and gratuitous kindness. And this, or since it's, yes, it fills our world, we're giving something to somebody, but it has a source in soiviv kol almin, which is the all-encompassing infuser, all-encompassing machinery which creates the infusion of mamali kol almin. So when we do this and we give this tzedakah, so we're bringing down the aura of sovev. Hagam, which is the light which is revealed, the light which is revealed in the future, when the dead will be brought to reborn. And that's an emanation from sovev, with a much greater revelation than it is now. Right now, or hasoive by definition is hidden. In Lasid Love, it will be revealed. The light that we can't see now will be revealed to us in physical bodies. So there, when that happens, that light of soive is, if you can say such a thing, is being emanated in a stronger manner, that it's able to, what's latent in soive, everything is included in soive, but in soive, you don't see it. This is the presence of God everywhere, which is, he's going to mention later, is alluded to in earlier chapters in Tanya, that soiv kol almin, though you don't see it, it's in everything. It's the equalizer that's responsible simply for the being and the life of everything. The different characteristics, we mentioned this before, are mamale, but the essence of life is soivev. And in the future, soivev, that essence of life which is hidden now, will be revealed as we are in bodies. So that's what's even by Yoisa Oyes, in a much greater strength, la'ain case, without end, the beginning gili ha'ora began Eden, the tachtim de'olyin, much greater strength, this or soive will be revealed than the light in the Garden of Eden, the lower worlds, and in the lower Garden Eden and the upper Garden Eden. Because once you're talking lower and upper, you're talking madregas, levels, right? Levels are distinctions. This is up and this is down. Soive is all around. It's the circle. And that will be, and so it's another revelation which is higher than any revelation in the levels of Gan Eden. Because now all the souls of the righteous and the Tanoim and the prophets, which are now in Gan Eden, or Elyon, even in the highest levels of Gan Eden, B'roim HaMailos, in the highest levels, Yishlab Shebegufaisehem, the Guvaisehem will be enclosed, and the Osid Lavi will come down and be re-enclosed in their bodies, La'osid, in the future, the Ekumum, and they'll stand up, Bizman HaTechiyah, in the time of Techiyas Amesim, Lahanois Miziv HaShechina, to get pleasure from the ray of the Shekhinah. Because the revelation now in Gan Eden, as I said, there are levels. Wherever there are levels, that's a clue to that it's a light which is mamalik olam. Mamalik olam, again, responsible for the diversity, the distinctiveness of things. So if one is upper, one is lower, that's the distinctiveness, and that's mamalik olam. As he said, mamalik olam is a manifestation of the chain of descent from level to level. And how is that implemented by God? Different levels through various levels of contraction and concealment, revelation and concealment. As our sages have said, the Yud Nivra Olam Haba. With a Yud, he created the future world, and with the Hey, he created Olam Hazeh, Yud K. Yud K in that structure, Yud is a high level, and very a very potent and like a point, a very potent level of godliness, and a very constricted level of godliness. And then you go down and down and down, you get lower and lower levels of revelation. And that point of the Yud is called the supernal Chokhmah, Hanikras Eden, which is called Eden. It's a level called Eden. Eden is the source of the Gan. There's a river which flows from Eden. That's the expression in Bereshis, right? Nahar Yotzima Eden. A river goes out from Eden. So Eden is the source. The river is lower. And once you, as I said, structuring above and below, you're in the Malakal Almin. So there's a river that goes out from Eden. Chokhmah Allah is called Eden, Elyon. A mistalshalis, or mistalshal b'kol olamas, which chains out and descends into all the worlds. Mishakasav is written, Kulam b'chokma asisa. It's a pasuk in Tilim. Kulam b'chokma asisa. Everything is made b'chokma. Chokma is the starting point of the entire making of the Seder HaHistalshalis. And there's another pasuk, b'chokma tichya bailon. It says that chokma enlivens one who possesses it. U'began Eden, he bebechinas gili hasaga l'chol chad l'fum shura delay. And what does this manifest? These levels of godly revelation, which we call mamalik olam. In Gan Eden, they manifest as different levels of grasping elokus, each one according to his or her capability of his neshama, kanoida, as is known. She'oinik ha-neshamas began Eden, that the pleasure, the delight of souls in Gan Eden, hasagat sonis Torah, is from the understanding. And once you're in hasaga, you're in mamalik olam, or degrees of understanding. So the delight of souls in Gan Eden is their hasaga, their grasping of the secrets of the Torah, which they had been busy with, occupied with in this world. B'nigla, as they studied the Torah as it's revealed. The Isa B'Zohar Kodesh, as the Zohar brings in Parsha Shlach. But with Gemara, but the Rabbi, it tells about the story of Rabba Bat Nachmani. Rabba Bat Nachmani engaged in a discussion or led a discussion about Tuma and Tara with God himself. God had one point of view, and the academy had another point of view. So when you're speaking about differentiation, this point of view or that point of view, you're talking mamali kalam. On the other hand, now, the revelation of godliness, which will be in the future by Tehiyas Amesim, by the revelation, by the resurrection, that will be from Seiv Kalam. And that's one of the reasons that in the future, godliness and physicality, the revelation, the open revelation of godliness and physicality won't be contradictory. Right now, godliness is contracted and contracted and contracted so that we don't see it. We experience it through our faculty of Amunah, but we don't experience it and we don't understand it. It's beyond Hasaga by definition. But in the future, when Soivev is revealed, one thing about Soivev is that Soivev is Shava Umashva. It makes everything, it's the equalizer. So godliness and physicality won't contradict each other, and Elokus will be really visible with our naked eye. And that's what we can look forward to at the time of the Tehiyas Amesim. There will be a revelation of Soivu Kalamim, She'eni Bechina Simsum, without any contractedness, without any concealment, Bashir, and without any measure, and without any gavul, and without any boundedness. El Bligvul, there will be a revelation of Bligvul without limitation, in gavul, in limitation. In other words, we will have limited bodies, as we have now, differentiated bodies, but in that gavul, in that limitation, in those boundaries, there will be revealed that which is beyond boundaries. A paradox that is right now is a paradox, which will be resolved in the future in Tehiyas Amesim. When he talks there very much about Soivu Kalamim, where he explains the beer, the Inyan of Soivu Kalamim, She'enu Kikishmoyed, which, and he just briefly alludes to it here, that, and he has explained earlier in Tanya and in many places in Lakuti, in the memoriam of the Alter Rebbe in Lakuti Torah, that Soivu Kalamim, surrounding all world, is not the way it implies that it's above and hovering. He says, on the contrary, the words in that parak is, it's b'seicha, it's within everything, although it's not be revealed. It's within everything. As I said earlier, it's responsible for the existence and the life of everything, but it's concealed. But it's within everything. So it's not like its name would imply that it's surrounding, encompassing everything. To make eagle like a circle, chas v'sholem. One of the reasons that then you could ask, why is it like a circle? Well, one of the reasons it's like a circle is a circle has no beginning and no end. A circle has no top or bottom. So there's no, so in those respects, circle means that there's no differentiation, although it's there undifferentiated, equal measure of godliness in everything. What we mean that it's a circle, it's invested in everything, but it's not enclosed in everything to cause the differentiation of things which mamale causes. And if you want more on this, see over there, back in that parak, and look very well. And I would say look very well means there's Soivu Kalam means explained in many different ways, and as like water on a stone, at least on this stone, my stone head, it took me a little while to get that sense of it. But it's a sense that something which is present everywhere, without which nothing can exist, but at the same time concealed. Maybe you guys are smarter and get it more quickly, but I hope you're getting it. So that's today's Tanya on the path of, still interestingly, the topic of tzedakah, because tzedakah is the mitzvahs of Hashem. It's the source. We've talked about this before. It's really the source. It's the model for the source of all the mitzvahs, because all the mitzvahs are Hashem's will for creation, and creation exists only through Hashem's tzedakah. Okay. Questions, comments? Yeah, Rivka.
Right. Well, to me, what was most noteworthy here is the fact that the tzaddikim, even in the higher levels of Gan Eden, will be at Tfias Amazing brought back here. Why? Because there'll be a greater revelation in this world than there is even in the higher worlds.
Yep.
That they were enjoying in their
because the higher worlds, as ever high they are, if you're saying higher and higher, that's Mamali Kalam. And in the future will be Soiva Kalami, which they don't.
In this world revealed.
Only this world. Well, the most surprises in this world. I'm not sure that it's only this world. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Why would they have to come? What's the point of
because this the why coming down, because that coming down this world and having Soiva is the biggest chiddush. It's not such a big chiddush up above, because into the proportion to the degree of concealment that exists, the revelation is much greater. But
it seems like there's still levels of Gan Eden, because they're coming from the levels of Gan Eden. So if there's levels of Gan Eden, it's not so big.
No, the chiddush is that wherever there are levels, those levels will exist, and paradoxically, at the same time, the blasting away of levels will also exist. And the big chiddush and the importance of it is down here below, because this is where Hashem's focus is, right? Hashem's eyes are always on the land, down here below. Eretz Halazu, this dark, lowest world. But wherever, all the levels of, the way I understand it anyway, all the levels of Mamale will have this experience of Soivet. And it's just that the deepest contrast will be from down here below, because it was the deepest hiddenness. At least that's the way I understand it.
I'll just read, here's a note on page 299. At the bottom of the page. So the Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain what exactly it is about the revelation attainable in the world to come that makes the revelation attainable even in the higher Gan Eden pale in comparison.
Right, because it's all Mamala in comparison to the revelation of Sidon. Correct. Good. Anybody else? So there's something to look forward to. The resurrection, right? And really, I mean, all our loved ones come back. But meanwhile, we're living, apparently at least, before the resurrection, where we have to work at opening our eyes to see this. And halavai that we will and do, particularly as Rosh Hashanah is just around the corner.
So I did have a comment, which is like overall about the study of Tanya.
Okay.
We are meant every day to envision. I think we are meant, I never thought of it this way until I started preparing the prayers of Rosh Hashanah. I bought a new machzor with translation, and I started to ahead of time look at the prayers of Rosh Hashanah and to teach it. And it seems to me that when it says Tzipisa Yeshua, which is everybody's what we're meant to do every day, we're supposed to be Tzipisa means actually, I think, to envision Geula.
Right.
It's not just this general thing that one person will be saying, well, I believe that the Rebbe is coming back and there will be Mashiach. It's not this general kind of thing. It's supposed to be envisioning.
Yeah.
Tzipisa means that you're Tzipisa means you're waiting for something. I heard the Rabbi Paltiel say once, it's like you're waiting for your FedEx package. And it's supposed to come. It's guaranteed to come by a certain time. But it's supposed to be like a reality kind of envisioning. And this type of a paragraph from Tanya, or this chapter from Tanya, it's part of that. If you have no idea what Chiyas HaMesim could be, because you've never learned this particular letter of Tanya, then how are you supposed to be envisioning Tchias HaMesim? There's no context to envision these things. It's only through study that we can have a vision of Geula. And it's much more than just these general, like we believe Mashiach will come and we're still waiting, we didn't give up. It's much more than that.
Well, I would say that one of the functions of Chassidus in general is to give us a glimpse. It's an eye-opener into that which we don't usually see. But at the same time, it's opening the eye of our minds, the eye of our spirit. It's not the experience, the physical experience, where no one's going to have to tell you to open up your eyes because it'll be there in front of your eyes. It's like that chair across from me. There's no doubt that I see it. I don't have to work at seeing it. The work we have to do now is largely delivered in Chassidus, which is give us an idea, a sense of what we will see actually in the future.
It's to give us a glimpse, but all of these glimpses, whether it's the past 7 weeks of Haftorah, whether it's this parak of Igeres HaKodesh, whether it's Lamanatseach that you say before Shofar, which I just studied in depth this year, and it's really talking about what the world will be like when Mashiach comes. It's really what it's about. Learning this is part of waiting for Mashiach.
Yeah. Maybe you could put your class online and we could all reap the benefits.
I could figure out a way to do that. Yeah.
Huh? Well,
I have to figure out a way to do that, because that's what
I'd love to hear.
My friend Sarah Balkan told me that. Like, she asked me right when her brother was freed, she said, Raisa, talk about Geula.
Right. All right. Well, you are. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Thanks. All right. Tomorrow, Emir Hashem. Take care. Good day.